moves on the horizon. Russia and Belarus plan massive Zappa 2025 drills, possibly making a hidden mobilization of 150,000 troops. Ukraine's own missiles are almost ready. Long-range strikes on Russian targets could begin this summer. And Putin's summer offensive. Experts say it's unlikely to break through. Heavy losses, minimal gains just for show. This is Ukraine Today. I'm Zaroslava Kolesnikova and I'm here to tell you the truth. Stay with us, it's getting serious. Russia and Belarus are gearing up for Zappa 2025, a large-scale military exercise set to take place in Belarus next year. But this may be more than just training. According to Latvian intelligence, up to 150,000 troops could be involved, far beyond the 12,000 officially declared. That number makes it the biggest military build-up since the start of Russia's full-scale war in Ukraine. Now that Moscow has pulled out of the Treaty on Conventional Armed Forces in Europe, it faces no limits on troop numbers or transparency. No warning, no oversight. Troops can be deployed without notice and the world might not see it. What is really behind Zappa 2025 drills or preparation for something much more dangerous? Stay tuned.
West 2025, Russia and Belarus are preparing a covert mobilization of up to 150,000 troops. The Zappa 2025 exercises, scheduled to take place in Belarus next year, could become Russia's largest military display since the start of the full-scale war. According to Latvia's estimates, between 100 and 150,000 Russian and Belarusian troops will take part in the maneuvers. This is several times more than the previously announced 12 and 13,000. This is because Russia is no longer bound by the Treaty on Conventional Armed Forces in Europe, which previously limited the number of participants in exercises. From now on, Moscow can deploy any forces it wants without international oversight or notification. The number of participants in the exercises as a whole depends on the situation at the front in Ukraine. In the event of a truce, Russia can quickly transfer part of its troops to Belarus and begin intensive training of conscripts and reservists. Previous attempts at mass mobilization of reservists in Russia failed, and now exercises can be used as a tool for mobilization training under the guise of drills. It is also simply impossible to ignore the threat to Ukraine. After all, this is a potential springboard for a new attack. Kyiv views the exercises as possible preparation for a new offensive against Ukraine from the north. The General Staff does not rule out that the maneuvers could be used to cover the deployment of a strike force in the Belarusian direction. The possibility of Belarus being drawn into the war is also being considered, something that Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky previously warned about. The scale of the exercises and their composition indicate military political pressure and Moscow's escalatory intentions.
Ukraine is entering a new phase of the war. The country's own missile program is nearly complete, and according to preliminary estimates, the first mass strikes on Russian targets could begin as early as this summer. With a range of 150 to 100 kilometers and beyond, these domestically produced missiles will allow Ukraine to strike deep into enemy territory, independently without relying on external approvals or facing foreign restrictions. The production process is accelerating fast thanks in part to potential access to foreign tech and manufacturing equipment. Serial deployment is no longer a distant goal. It's just months away. A new chapter in Ukraine's defense may be about to begin.
Meanwhile, Ukrainian missiles are almost ready for combat. Strikes against Russia could begin as early as this summer. Ukraine is finalizing the development of its own missile program, and as early as this summer, the first massive strikes on Russian targets using domestically produced weapons may begin. According to preliminary estimates, the strikes could be carried out at distances of 150 to 300 kilometers or even farther. This will be an important milestone, as Ukraine will be able to strike at the enemy's rear without depending on external decisions and restrictions. The production program is being actively accelerated. A key factor has been the possible acquisition of foreign technologies and equipment, which has made it possible to significantly shorten the timelines. The launch of serial use of the missiles is a matter of the coming months, and signs of the new missiles being used have already appeared at the front. In May, there was a sharp increase in precision strikes on Russian military command posts. In particular, 3 Iskander system launches were destroyed. This may indicate combat testing of Ukrainian ballistic missiles in real conditions. In addition to missiles, strike drones will complement missile power. Alongside missile development, the field of strike drones is also advancing. In May, the armed forces received the heavy bomber drone White Wolf, capable of delivering a powerful warhead to its target. In this way, Ukraine is forming an independent strike system that combines missile weaponry and unmanned aviation. This is a new generation of weaponry that is already entering the battlefield without restrictions and with a long strike range.
Putin is making one last push, but will it work? Russia's summer offensive in Ukraine is underway, but analysts from The Economist say it's unlikely to bring real success. The Kremlin is aiming for small local gains in Donbass and Sumy, hoping to spin them into a great victory for its people. Up to 50,000 Russian troops are pressing from the north, while battles rage in Konstantinivka and Pokrovsk. For the first time, the full-scale war began. The attacks from the north and east are moving in sync, thanks to weak defense and poor drone protection on the Ukrainian side. But will this be enough, or this is truly Putin's final move before it all falls apart?
Meanwhile, an investigation by The Economist has appeared online. Analysts explain why Russia's summer offensive is doomed to fail without a breakthrough. According to The Economist's analysts, Russia's summer offensive in Ukraine is unlikely to end in strategic success. At best, the Kremlin is counting on local gains, which will be presented as a huge victory to the domestic audience. According to Ukrainian intelligence, the main attacks are concentrated in the directions of Konstantinivka, Pokrovsk, and the Sumy region. Up to 50,000 Russian troops are massed on the northern border, advancing slowly but persistently deeper into the region. It is also unusual that, for the first time since the start of the full-scale invasion, the pace of the offensive in the north and in Donbass is synchronized. This has become possible due to weak fortifications and insufficient protection against drones, according to experts cited by The Economist.
Russia pushes with number, not quality, and now adds tech to the mix. Despite minimal gains in 3 years, Moscow launches a final push aimed more at breaking morale than winning ground. Losses are massive, up to 80% of mobilized troops, yet Russia occupies Ukraine in monthly recruitment. On the Donbass front, a new threat appears. Russia's Rubicon units uses drone motherships that launch smaller drones with encrypted control, undermining Ukraine's air edge. Is this just noise or the start of a new phase in the war?
Analysts also know that Russia is attacking with quantity rather than quality. Despite some advances, the front line has barely changed in 3 years. Ukraine views the current wave as a final push aimed at breaking morale rather than achieving a real breakthrough. Russia, meanwhile, continues its offensive despite enormous losses. Up to 80% of those mobilized do not survive. However, every month, Russia mobilizes 10 to 15,000 more people than Ukraine. The Russian Federation incentivizes mobilization financially and outpaces Ukraine in both the number and rate of mobilization. Analysts also note that for the first time, a new Russian unit called Rubicon has been spotted in the area between Konstantinivka and Pokrovsk. This is a specialized unit with access to advanced drones and electronic warfare technologies. Its distinctive feature is the use of mother drones that launch smaller devices with fiber optic or encrypted control. This has sharply reduced the air superiority of the Ukrainian armed forces, effectively depriving them of technological initiative. Key cities are holding on, but the tension is rising. Despite massive attacks, Konstantinivka remains under Ukrainian control. Both sides are suffering significant losses, but the Ukrainian army feels them more acutely due to slower mobilization rates. Against the backdrop of the ongoing offensive, The Economist notes that the possibility for a diplomatic window may only arise after this phase of the war is over. But that is not guaranteed. The Kremlin does not need a victory. It needs to create the illusion of success and maintain steady control. Ukraine, despite fatigue and technological challenges, intends to hold the line even in a war of attrition where the winner is the one who can endure the longest. That's all for today. Tune in for the next news update tomorrow.
That's all for today's report. If you found this video useful or eye-opening, please give it a like, it helps more people see the truth. Drop a comment below to let us know what you think and share this video with your friends to help spread real information. If you want to support independent journalism and make sure we can keep going this, consider becoming a sponsor. Every bit of support matters. I see you in the next episode.